I'll tell you what, Chad. I don't want to wake up. It just keeps getting worse. Feels like every day that I wake up, there's some more shit going on. And it just makes me want to go back to sleep. To turn the alarm clock off on life. And just escape this fucking clown world for a few minutes more. The sweet, sweet slumber of my own imagination. And yet here I am. Here you are. Forced to endure another day in this farcical fucking joke of a world. With leadership that is, at least from my assessment, semi-fucking retarded. And people that are just absolute dipshits and fools. I don't know. It's a bit depressing. Today was going to be the Socialist Political Party. I'm saving that for Friday. I pushed that back to the next stream. Because so much has happened just in the last 48 hours in regards to our commander-in-chief and his big boy, big-brained 40 underwater chest maneuvering. Come on, my fellow Q-tards, trust the plan. Mr. Trump knows what he's doing. No, he doesn't. Here we are. Here we are approaching the end of the road. As more and more ridiculous shit is slipping past us. Our president decides to give an address to the nation, which is just terrible. I debated destiny. God, this is going back. This is almost 3 years now. I debated destiny. This is back when he told me he wanted to carpet bomb Mexico. About the president, or the president-elect at the time. Destiny had his qualms about Trump. And I'd said, and I thought rather fairly, well, he hasn't really done anything yet. He hasn't even been in office. You've got to give him a chance. You got to give him a little bit of time to give an assessment of what you think of his leadership, of where he's going, what he's doing. I think we've given him enough time. I think we've waited long enough. I don't see a fucking wall, and I see a lot of immigration still happening. But I think the speech he gave yesterday, in regards to the shootings, in regards to what's going on in the nation, perhaps the worst shit I've heard in a long time. Getting flashbacks to the moral majority, the good old boys from the 90s who used to like to bitch to the Senate about those violent video games. And we've got to... Daddy, take care of those guns, Daddy. Quiet, Ivanka. I'll take care of it. I'll get those evil guns out of here. Thank you, Daddy. What in the fuck? What in the fuck is going on? He gives his little speech about the shootings. Governor of Ohio gets up there and starts talking about red flag laws. Red flag laws. Good God. I'd seen those talked about in a few states, but they're mostly, from retard land. Retard land, of course, referring to California or Florida. But no, let's roll that out across the nation. I guess it's from that tragic shooting in Toledo. I hope the people of Toledo are okay. I know they've gone through some rough times. Isn't that right, Mr. President? Oh, God bless the people of Toledo. We need to take the guns away. My daughter's upset about this. Let's implement some laws that are surely not going to backfire on us. But my merely giving you a description of the ridiculous shit that's going on, I don't think it's fair. We should probably let the man himself on to talk. It's a 10-minute clip. He was able to take 10 minutes out of his day to address all the death around him and pray for the people of Toledo. Oh, I hope it's written when children 100, 200 years from now are discussing the Second Civil War and they ask their teacher what started it, and the teacher can look at the children and say, those fucking people from Toledo did. They're the ones responsible. Toledoians, obviously the ones that pushed this upon the nation, started the great Second Civil War. Never forget Toledo and its betrayal of the American people. Well, we'll take a look. We'll take a look at the president's address to the nation, and you can see just how ridiculous this is. I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. I just know there's shit going on I wish wasn't going on. I was so concerned about the death of the internet, which we're in the middle of. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope the smell from the carcass of it pleasant to your nose. I thought that was going to be bad enough. But no, no, let's fuck the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Let's just fuck them all. Fuck every amendment. Let's make things shitty. Let's make things shitty so the next guy that comes in can make it even worse. This for me at least goes back to Bush. W. Oh, Mr. Patriot Act and those Defense Authorization Acts. Let's give ridiculous powers. Let's do black site fucking prisons. Let's no justice, no representation. We're just gonna fuck it. If you're an American citizen, we're gonna take you out of America and bring you to some foreign fucking country. You don't get to talk to anybody. You get no representation. We think you're a threat. We're gonna stick a cattle prod up your ass. That's good. Then fuck it. Let's give the NSA and the FBI and the CIA access to everything. You don't need any privacy or protections. What do you have to hide, good citizen? You know, I knew when those went into place, even the justification for them. Oh my God, terrorism. We need to fight terrorism. I knew when those went into place it was going to be bad news because some fucking retard after him was going to misuse it. Then we get Obama. Oh, the great black hope. Here comes Chocolate Kennedy. He's going to save us. He's going to get rid of those terrible policies. Remember when that motherfucker walked in? Oh, I'm going to shut down Gitmo. Sure as shit didn't, did he? I'm going to get rid of the Patriot Act. You didn't do that either, did you? Oh, you came in fucking riding thunder and lightning with a wind behind you. Like a Norse god, a black Norse god. We wasn't that shit. Oh, you were going to save us all from the terrible policies before you. Didn't save us from any of it. In fact, you broadened them. And then here comes Trump. Well, he's going to save us. If Black Kennedy didn't do it, surely the Orange Man will, with his 2 scoops of justice. And what do we get? We get a continuation of this ridiculous chain of events that have been going on now for 2 fucking decades. The erosion of your civil liberties. The erosion of your ability to speak and express and defend yourself. And now we have the president addressing the people. Talking about fucking video games. The tragic death of people in Toledo. What the fuck? I don't know, Chad. Maybe I'm just disconnected. Maybe I'm wrong here in my assessment. We're going to find out right now. I'm going to watch the president address the nation. Also, I love can I just say as an aside, we're watching this, and if I'll put this up on screen right now, we're watching this on Fox 10 in Phoenix. I love the fact that Fox 10 in Phoenix became a thing. After the whole Ben Garrison debacle, they had like 20,000 subs at the time. When they got fucked with by people about the whole Ben Garrison thing, they're sitting at 500,000 now. That channel really blew up. They rolled with the punches. I mean, they could have got angry about it. They actually left those streams up. They left them up. They took it on the chin. Sitting at half a million subscribers. They got a trending video now. End hate. President Trump addresses the nation. Well, I don't like hate. Hate's bad. How are we going to end it? We should end hate. Please tell me, President, how are we going to end the hate? We'll watch the thing in its entirety. It's not the longest. It's 10 minutes. Hopefully we're not waiting too long. You know, I could have skipped ahead, but I want to set the mood. I want you to get ready. Prepare yourselves. It's coming. President's going to tell us how FIFA is responsible for spree killers. The fucking Fortnite video game inspiring those goddamn neo-Nazis. That's what's the problem. You're playing too many JRPGs. It's making you go crazy and murder people. Oh, you hear that noise in the background? That's a press pool playing Call of Duty. That's their act of resistance.
Good morning. My fellow Americans, this morning, our nation is overcome with shock, horror, and sorrow. This weekend, more than 80 people were killed or wounded in 2 evil attacks. One Saturday morning in El Paso, Texas, a wicked man went to a Walmart store where families were shopping with their loved ones. He shot and murdered 20 people and injured 26 others, including precious little children. Then, in the early hours of Sunday morning, Dayton, Ohio, another twisted monster opened fire on a crowded downtown street. He murdered 9 people, including his own sister, and injured 27 others. The First Lady and I join all Americans in praying and grieving.
You know, as an aside, because he's not talking about anything super important at this particular moment, the Dayton, Ohio killer, the video's out there. You can find it on Live Leaks, even on YouTube, of him getting taken out by the police.
Are an assault upon our communities, an attack upon our nation, and a crime against all of humanity. We are outraged and sickened by this monstrous evil, the cruelty, the hatred, the malice, the bloodshed, and the terror. Our hearts are shattered for every family whose parents, children, husbands, and wives were ripped from their arms and their lives. America weeps for the fallen. We are a loving nation, and our children are entitled to grow up in a just, peaceful, and loving society. Together, we lock arms to shoulder the grief. We ask God in heaven to ease the anguish of those who suffer, and we vow to act with urgent resolve. I want to thank the many law enforcement personnel who responded to these atrocities with the extraordinary grace and courage of American heroes. I have spoken with Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, as well as Mayor DeMargo of El Paso, Texas, and Mayor Nan Whaley of Dayton, Ohio, to express our profound sadness and unfailing support. Today, we also send the condolences of our nation to President Obrador of Mexico,
Who, by the way, is threatening to sue the U.S. Yes, we'd like to apologize. Please don't sue us. How about fuck you? Build our wall. Send me that paycheck so we can build the fucking wall. And then the illegals that were shot in that Walmart wouldn't be dead. President of Mexico? If you'd built that fucking wall, they never would have got in here. They never would have got shot. Just saying. I know that's cruel. I just bring it back to point. Remember, we're supposed to have a big fucking wall on the southern border. Seems it would have served 2 purposes. Keeping illegals out of the U.S. and keeping illegals alive who didn't get shot in a Walmart. Thought it was a pertinent point to bring up.
and all the people of Mexico for the loss of their citizens in the El Paso shooting. Terrible, terrible thing. I have also been in close contact with Attorney General Barr and FBI Director Wray. Federal authorities are on the ground, and I have directed them to provide any and all assistance required, whatever is needed. The shooter in El Paso posted a manifesto online consumed by racist hate. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
You know, I seem to remember having read that manifesto. I think we all listened to it 2 days ago. I don't remember a ton of racist hate in that particular manifesto. I do remember catchphrases like the right side of history, and of course, 4 paragraphs dedicated to the goddamn Lorax about the ecology, the environment of the world. Very strange manifesto, not really striking me as the sort that was written by a white nationalist, a neo-Nazi. We'll find out, of course, as more and more information comes out about it. Very, very bizarre. Both shootings, very bizarre. That manifesto didn't seem to have any racial hatred. I didn't see any slurs in there. I didn't see any language you would expect from somebody that's going to go on a high-score killing spree. Just a lot of Dr. Seuss references.
These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America. Hatred warps the mind, ravages the heart, and devours the soul. We have asked the FBI to identify all further resources they need to investigate and disrupt hate crimes and domestic terrorism.
Okay, this is where we start getting into the interesting point, and this is where I want people to start paying attention. Now, I've heard the argument. This is some 22-degree extra dimensional underwater backgammon, but bear with me. He's putting a lot of things out into the ether, even if he doesn't intend to do them. Surely something that could be picked up by other people to do, or a president that comes in after him, or God forbid him himself. But we're talking about hate crimes and hate speech. And then it's not hate crimes, hate speech, terrorism. It's and terrorism. There's a separation between those two. This is going to play an important role, I think, going forward with red flag laws, with how the FBI and the NSA and the CIA conduct themselves in relation to surveilling citizens. There's a wave coming, a wave of censorship that we've seen preparing itself for many years now, that people were aware was going to come, but they thought it would mostly be done with a corporate face. They thought the companies like Alphabet and Google and Facebook and others were going to be the ones pushing it, sanitizing the internet for their own political biases and for their bottom line. But to me, at least, it seems that there's going to be now a political push for it. And that political push could take on and morph into something even more terrifying. You have to understand when you're listening to a speech like this and the proposals of new tools for investigation and new potential laws on how they're going to handle something. How are they defining it? How are they defining a hate crime? How are they defining hate speech? We live in the land of the lovely hamburger. And so to us, there would be violence involved with that. A hate crime, there has to be a violent component, a physical act involved in it. But for a good portion of the world, that's not the case. A hate crime for us is very different from a hate crime for an Australian or for an Englishman. And who knows what legislation awaits where mean words are going to become hate crimes, where they're going to be seen as facilitators of terrorism, as radicalization. And in fact, he speaks to this in just a little bit. But I don't know, I get a bone-chilling feeling going down my spine when I hear this, because it's the sort of thing that I think is signaling to darker times ahead, as we're going to see an attack on both the First and the Second Amendment.
Whatever they need. We must recognize that the internet has provided a dangerous avenue to radicalize, disturb minds, and perform demented acts. We must shine light on the dark recesses of the internet and stop mass murders before they start. The internet, likewise, is used for human trafficking, illegal drug distribution, and so many other heinous crimes. The perils of the internet and social media cannot be ignored, and they will not be ignored.
The perils of the internet. For radicalization. The perils of the internet and social media. For the radicalization and the dangers it poses to society. That's pretty on the nose. Those kind of statements should be alarming to you. They should be alarming to most people. I think they are a signal change. I think they are a portent. It's foreshadowing for things that are coming. I think we're actually seeing a little bit of it, a tiny bit of it right now play itself out with 8chan. The Homeland Security Commission or Committee chair is already saying they want Jim Watkins to come to the United States to answer for his crimes of running a website and for the radicalization, obviously, that's taking place. My fear for that, and we'll talk about this later on, is that they're going to start to see a pattern, and that pattern is going to present itself to them, or at least they'll justify it as, a national security risk of expats, Americans that are living overseas running websites which are radicalizing Americans. They're going to point to somebody like a Jim Watkins and they're going to say, hey, that guy's a danger. They're going to point to somebody like a Joshua Moon and say, hey, that guy's a danger too. Why are all these people moving to foreign countries and running websites that are radicalizing our citizens? We need to act on that. Of course, what that means for you is less access, less information, less ability to speak your mind. Where are you going to go? When 8chan or a 4chan or a Kiwi Farms or an Encyclopedia Dramatica, when those are gone, where are you going to go? Where are you going to express yourself? Are you going to go on Twitter, on Facebook? Well, no, he's already said social media as well. Social media as well. There is a game afoot. I'm going to be a little conspiratorial minded here for you, folks. There's a game afoot, and we were witnessing it play itself out, with the FBI talking about how they want to address conspiracy theorists, with the president and other arms of the government talking about the dangers of hate speech and online radicalization, with internet companies shutting down platforms, with red flag laws going into place. I can feel that grip tightening. I can feel that vice grip closing. And I just wonder if other people feel it too, if they notice it too, if they can connect the dots and see that we're headed for something that we don't want to be headed for. There are certain actions that once taken cannot be undone in a civil manner. There are certain actions that once put into place can't be fixed with civility. And when you start to put restrictions, even putting aside the gun debate, when you start to put restrictions on freedom of speech and expression, it's a dark path to go down. This country was founded by rebels and revolutionaries. People that took on a all-powerful nation, an empire, because they didn't like putting up with their shit anymore. And I don't like where I see things going, I guess would be my way of putting it. I don't like the overreaction, and I don't like what I feel is setting the table. And when I refer to something as setting the table, what I mean is taking an event or a happening, and you're preparing. The dinner party hasn't really come yet. That's down the road. But before people can be seated and enjoy themselves at the festival and have the delicious feast you've prepared, you need to set the table ahead of time. You need to set those dinner plates out. You need to get the glasses nice and cleaned up, have the silverware all laid out for them. Well, I feel that we're setting the table. And the dinner party we're all going to be invited to is going to be a very sad occasion. A wake, if you will, for the American spirit. Let the president continue.
In the 2 decades since Columbine, our nation has watched with rising horror and dread as one mass shooting has followed another, over and over again, decade after decade. We cannot allow ourselves to feel powerless. We can and will stop this evil contagion. In that task, we must honor the sacred memory of those we have lost by acting as one people. Open wounds cannot heal if we are divided. We must seek real.
I'm going to have to say that's awfully transphobic of you, Mr. President. Open wounds can't heal. Is that a shot at our transsexual brothers and sisters? Are you making a reference to dilation? Oh, I can imagine some very angry trannies right now. What do you mean open wounds can't heal? That's not an open wound. That's my vagina. It's beautiful. I need to give it a kiss.
Bipartisan solutions. We have to do that in a bipartisan manner that will truly make America safer and better for all. First, we must do a better job of identifying and acting on early warning signs. I am directing the Department of Justice to work in partnership with local, state, and federal agencies, as well as social media companies, to develop tools that can detect mass shooters before they strike.
What sort of tool do you imagine that's going to be? What sort of tool are you going to develop to detect mass shooters before they strike? We already have tools in place for law enforcement and for federal agencies to detect behaviors, or red flags, if you will, that might clue people in to the fact that there are some psychopaths out there that might do some terrible things and hurt innocent people. Those tools have existed for quite some time. Shockingly, they're usually overlooked, aren't they? It's not that the fucking tools don't exist, it's that the tools aren't used. Such as the Dayton shooter having a fucking rape list and a hunt-to-kill list being ignored. I remember the Columbine kids had something similar as well, where they wrote down, I'm going to fucking murder people, here's how I'm going to do it. People seemingly not interested in following up on that. Seem to remember the FBI ignoring some school shooters where they were explicitly warned, and some of these people were unbalanced and unstable and dangerous to themselves and others. That was never followed up on. But now you want to implement new tools for those fucking mass shooters online. We're talking about hate speech and hate crimes, radicalization. What do you think those tools are going to be? I have a feeling those tools are going to probably center around certain ideas and speech. I have a feeling that if you express yourself in a certain way, you could end up getting a knock on your door. In fact, we're going to look at a case of that happening yesterday of a YouTuber who said some things I'm guessing they didn't like, and he got a knock on his door because he happened to identify as a certain way and have a certain viewpoint of the world around him. And now we have the government talking about wanting to use more tools. Well, how many tools do you need? I'm already bent over here. You can go into my computer through every software and hardware component that I own. There is no security. Security doesn't exist. You can look at the speeches of people like Applebaum talking explicitly about how the government can access every device you have, that there is no security. You can look at all the leaks of the spy kits and the tools that are available to the government to look in on you. You can look at the different acts of them being able to tap in. I mean, at this point, I'm going to have to just say it's incompetence. It's not that you don't have total control. You do. You're just fucking incompetent with it. You're a really shitty dictatorship, America. You've got everybody under surveillance, and even with all that information, you seemingly can't do shit about it. Is it a little difficult to parse through, is it? Observing 325 million people? Bit difficult, isn't it? To find out what's a shit post and what's not. So maybe, instead of monitoring 325 million people's shit posts, we'll just make it so they can't shit post and consider the problem solved. I think that's maybe where it's going. I think that's potentially what the idea might be. But we'll find out. Let him continue.
As an example, the monster in the Parkland High School in Florida had many red flags against him, and yet nobody took decisive action. Nobody did anything. Why not? Second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace. It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence. We must stop or substantially reduce this, and it has to begin immediately. Cultural change.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that the reason we have people killing people out there is because of the art and entertainment they consumed. Boy, I haven't heard that argument before. Let's just fall back on that old gem. Let's just go back and dig that one up. From parents breaking records in the 50s, because Elvis is obviously a devil. Swaying those hips is making our girls into whores. To the upset parents. You remember Tipper Gore? You remember Al Gore's wife telling everybody that if they listened to fucking Twisted Sister, they'd be worshiping the devil in a week? Need to get those ratings on those goddamn movies and television. Too much. We've got rules in place for what you can watch on television. Oh wait, we got rid of those rules because it was retarded. But no, it's the video games now. We've moved past the music and the television and the movies. We're on to the video games now. Obviously, this is all the fault of Halo and Fortnite and Forza. This isn't some other thing that's playing itself out. There isn't some other issue at play here. No, it's those goddamn video games. Those fucking Zoomers and their multiplayer games are going to kill us all. The country's going to be in ruins because a couple of weebs wanted to see some titties in DOA. God bless Sony. Censoring those titties, saving lives across the world. Preventing more spree killers and mass killers and school shooters with anime tits being restricted behind certain criteria. God bless you, Sony. Base Japanese saving the day. No, we've got to change the culture. We got to fall back on this. I bet those goddamn Columbine kids, bet they played that Mortal Kombat, should have listened to us in 92. Should have listened to our little Jewish friend Joe Lieberman when he told you no fatalities are bad. Then Columbine wouldn't have happened. But you didn't listen. Well, now here we are in the modern age. It's a fucking floss dance. It's those dancing emotes, and those video games are doing it to us. Need to get rid of them. If you didn't have floss dancing in Fortnite, Dayton wouldn't have happened. Very big brained. Very, very smart.
Change is hard, but each of us can choose to build a culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity of every human life. That's what we have to do. Third, we must reform our mental health laws to better identify mentally disturbed individuals who may commit acts of violence and make sure those people not only get treatment, but when necessary, involuntary confinement.
We need to make sure that when you say nigger online, that we take your guns away, that we take your internet access away, and we involuntarily confine you. Because hate speech means you're crazy. And our FBI monitoring tools have come to that conclusion. You need to be removed from... You think I'm joking? You watch where this goes. You think I'm joking? You just watch where this goes. You get fined now in New York if you don't use the proper pronouns. If I told you that 10 years ago, you'd have laughed in my fucking face. If I told you people were getting arrested for tweets in the United Kingdom, you'd have laughed at me. Look at you now. You don't think this shit's going down a dark road? You don't think they're going to implement it and put into place some protocols that are going to fuck with you for saying the wrong thing? You're out of your goddamn mind. You're out of your goddamn mind. You just watch what these fuckers do.
Mental illness and hatred pulls the trigger, not the gun. Fourth, we must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process. That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders. Today, I'm also directing the Department of Justice to propose legislation ensuring that those who commit hate crimes and mass murders face the death penalty.
Okay. So not only can you tell, welcome to America. Now, what's going on? Wait, what happened? Oh, things have gone crazy. Oh, they've actually done it. They've actually reversed things. It's amazing. Now they've made a situation where gay people aren't crazy, gun owners are. They switched it on you. This is revenge for the 50s. You had to bash those gay people, didn't you? Switcheroony. Fucking, you're gonna die, Goy. Don't you say that you can't, don't you try to boycott Israel. That's illegal now. And more than that, if you make a Jew joke, we're gonna list it as a hate crime and have you put in fucking mental hospital for 72 hours. Fucking online extreme radicalization. Oh, we're going down a dark fucking path.
And that this capital punishment be delivered quickly, decisively, and without years of needless delay. These are just a few of the areas of cooperation that we can pursue. I am open and ready to listen and discuss all ideas that will actually work and make a very big difference. Republicans and Democrats have proven that we can join together in a bipartisan fashion to address this plague.
Nothing says cooperation better in the United States of America than fucking the American people. Oh boy, the Democrats and the Republicans can come together on one conclusive action, bending you over and shoving it up your ass. They love that. They'll drop that partisan shit in a minute if it means sodomizing your tight, tender little ass. Oh, they're going to pause that neg hole good. Look at that bipartisan penis. Coming for you. Oh, you like that, don't you, bitch? And if you tell me you don't like getting fucked in the ass, I'm going to declare you crazy and take your guns.
Last year, we enacted the Stop School Violence and Fix NICS Acts into law, providing grants to improve school safety and strengthening critical background checks for firearm purchases. At my direction, the Department of Justice banned bump stocks. Last year, we prosecuted a record number of firearms offenses. But there is so much more that we have to do. Now is the time to set destructive partisanship aside, so destructive, and find the courage to answer hatred with unity, devotion, and love. Our future is in our control. America will rise to the challenge. We will always have, and we always will, win. The choice is ours, and ours alone.
Oh, my little megapeds, are you tired of winning yet? Oh, I bet you love all this winning. You can't stop winning anymore. Oh, call it winning. You're winning so hard. You're winning your guns away. You're winning your speech away. Oh, you're winning no wall. Are you loving the winning? Oh, go to the casino. You're winning so much.
It is not up to mentally ill monsters. It is up to us. If we are able to pass great legislation after all of these years, we will ensure that those who were attacked will not have died in vain. May God bless the memory of those who perished in Toledo. May God protect them. May God protect all of those from
Oh, those poor. Let's go. I want to hear more about the victims of Toledo.
in vain. May God bless the memory of those who perished in Toledo.
This motherfucker. He's so focused on taking your fucking guns and your speech away. Can't even get the name of the city right where people died. Oh, Rip and Pepperoni people of Toledo. What a tragic tale. Oh, they'll write that on a monument. Here lies the victims of the Toledo massacres. Why does every spree killer in America keep going to Toledo?
May God protect them. May God protect all of those from Texas to Ohio. May God
Hey, it finishes him with saying, may God bless America. But I think he means, may God just help me fuck America. Can I fuck America? Can I bend it over? Can I bend America over and just give it a thorough fucking? You know, there's a saying. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And when it comes to laws, it's very similar. You have a tragic event happen, you have something devastating happen, innocent people have died, children have died. Of course people are angry. They're always going to be angry. Why wouldn't they? And it's a righteous anger. You don't want kids to die. You don't want innocent people to die. It's a shitty fucking thing to have happen. Nobody likes that. There's not people out there advocating for that. Some random person out there living their fucking life, going shopping and getting killed by some fucking sped. I don't think anybody's really down with that. I think spree killers are a fucking joke. But when you have something like that happen, people are so quick to want to implement hackneyed measures, a patchwork of legalese that will eventually be abused. I don't look at what he's talking about and think, that's bad. I look at where it's going to go and see the inevitable conclusion as being bad. Say you want to implement change, fine. Saying you want to put into place some measures to prevent something like that happening, that sounds reasonable. But what are those measures going to be? And what are those measures going to morph into? If you don't think that our government, and I'm talking to Americans right now, if you don't think our government is full of incompetent retards that are power hungry and will abuse anything on the records, that will abuse any law in place to fuck you and your freedoms away, you are naive. It has always been like that. Politicians do not serve the people, they serve themselves. It has always been like that. They care about staying in office and making fucking money. They like that money. And they like staying in office. So, what better group to appeal to than morally outraged people after a terrible thing has happened? Need to get rid of that speech. Need to get rid of those guns. Need to put into place new measures to prevent you from saying things that are uncomfortable, prevent you from protecting yourself. Now, when I hear red flag laws, when I hear about mental health assessment, when I hear about hate crimes, on surface value, you'd think, okay, it's a reasonable reaction. Somebody's upset. Something terrible's happened. They want to put into place something that's going to change the system and protect people. How can you find fault with that? I find fault with it because I see where it's going to go. I find fault with it because I see what those hate crimes and hate speech will be defined as, what those terroristic actions and radicalization will be defined as, what those mental health holds and assessments will be defined as a power grab, a disproportionate power grab to take from you something you have and can never get back. We've seen the soft side of censorship, corporate pushed. You're going to see the hard side of it, government pushed. Go take a look at the UK. That's your fucking future. Go take a look at Canada. Wax my balls. That's your future. Look in the United States. Look at New York. A state full of fucking special cases. Water-headed individuals that are pushing for things like proper pronoun laws, man-spreading laws on the sucking subway. I am absolutely chilled to the bone with where I see this shit going, because I'm sick of the concept of the lowest common denominator being what sets the laws in the country. I'm sick of that idea of being punished because some retard can't control themselves. Why should everyone else suffer because of some special nutcase? Why should everyone else have to suffer for them? Why does it always have to appeal to that lowest common denominator? Why do your guns have to go away? Your speech has to go away. You have to pay extra taxes. You have to deal with extra surveillance. Because some fucking retard who can't get pussy or who doesn't like the immigrants decides to go on a fucking killing spree. And now we all have our freedoms eroded away from us, taken away from us. You know, our founding fathers didn't like the idea of this strong of a federal government. They also didn't like the idea of states being a bunch of weak pussies. They can't decide for themselves, but apparently states will bend the fucking knee when they need to. I guess they lost that one the last time they had a row about states' rights. It's a dark fucking time. Who am I going to laugh at? I'm going to have to look in the mirror now. I can't laugh at the Brits anymore. I can't laugh at the Canadians anymore. It's coming home. What are you going to face in 20 years? The same thing they do? Assault mopeds? Spork-related crimes? We're going to need porn licenses too? Oi, mate. That's a mean tweet you sent out. 30 years in the... what do they call prisons in Britain? I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. White people housing. That's what I'm gonna. That's what they call. That's what they call prisons in Britain. White people housing, because there are no Muslims in them. It's just white people who've all been arrested for tweeting mean things, or Scottish men that rev their car engines in a racist manner. God Almighty, what is going on? Who spiked the water? Who put the crazy pills in our water supply? For this shit. Oh, but it gets worse. Oh, we've got so much more to talk about in relation to this. I want to paint a picture and show you how it's somewhat interconnected and how one thing leads off from another thing. From HCR to you, since violent video games are now a hot topic again, consider buying Postal 2 on Steam after the stream. I own Postal 2. It's a great video game. Don't let these fuckers take your art from you. Never been for that. Even the obnoxious sort of art, even the sort of art and entertainment that I find to be repulsive, I've never been about censoring. I've never really been about censoring people's access to anything, I'll be honest with you. If it's a requirement, maybe I have an issue with it, but if it's a choice, I have no issue with it. I think this is where Sargon and I first disagreed. They were offering social justice classes in college. This was a selective class. To me, I don't care. It's your money. Spend it how you want to spend. I'll call you an idiot for taking the college class. I think the shit is insidious and a poison, but nonetheless, it is your money to spend how you want to spend. He wanted to ban it. He wanted to ban social justice from colleges. I'm not with that. I think people should have access to the things they want to have access to, and I think they should be able to say what they want to say. I think the idea of censoring is just repugnant. In fact, I'd almost go beyond the concept of free speech into unfettered speech. But we're getting crazy there. I'm probably going to get red flagged for saying that. Tipper Gore and Bill O'Reilly were right the whole time. Marilyn Manson, Eminem, and this new Sega Genesis game, Mortal Kombat, inspire all mass shootings. We didn't listen. We didn't listen. Tipper Gore. What an obnoxious bitch. I know you fucking Zoomers might not know who that is. Oh, who's Tipper Gore? First off, who names their child Tipper? How much do you hate your fucking kid that you've got to name them fucking Tipper? Tipper Gore. Tipper Gore might be the first recorded case of a Karen ever. A Karen caught in the wild, trying to implement laws. Tipper fucking Gore. Oh, Tipper. Oh, your music's making you boys crazy. That Twisted Sister is too goddamn dangerous. We need to get rid of those records. Here's a better suggestion, Tipper. How about you shut your fucking mouth and go make Al a sandwich? Al Gore, what are you doing, Al? Put a leash on this bitch and get her off the fucking stage. I'm gonna listen to whatever goddamn music I want to listen to. Fucking country, western, rap, hip hop, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna let Karen tell me what music I can listen to. Fuck her. Tipper Gore. Disgusting woman. From HDRTU, I notice these end hate topics and I ask how? How the fuck are you going to end hate? By shutting people up. Hate speech is the dumbest concept ever invented by Western civilization. Give hate speech a chance. I think repressing ability. I don't even know how to put this. How do I put this in a clever way? I don't even think you need to put it in a clever way. It should be self-evident. If you remove people's outlets for expression, it's like a pressure cooker with no release valve. Eventually, something's going to explode. You start telling people that they're responsible for all the bad things in society, and then you take away their ability to say that's retarded. How long do you think they're going to put up with that? How long do you think they're going to just take it on the chin until they just have enough? Frankly, I want to know if I walk into a room who thinks I'm a faggot. So that way, at least I know where we stand. I don't waste my time speaking with them. I can go on, have a drink with somebody else. I don't think the idea of making them have to keep their mouth shut when they want to call me a faggot is probably the way to go. I think that's a terrible idea, especially on a societal level. Fucking retarded. Ronson, come on, Jim. Potato Blump is based and red pilled. Trust the plan. Have you been trusting the plan, chat? Have you noticed? Have you fucking noticed? Here's what I want you to do. If you want a really funny laugh, go to the Twitter account, CodeMonkeyZ. That's an admin. It's a tech guy, whatever, of 8chan. And I want you to read the responses to every post he puts up. He'll put up stuff like, hey, we're working on the site. We're trying to find a workaround. Factual, relevant information. Everybody gets it. He's trying to keep people in the loop. Good. But go look at a lot of the responses. Aside from the shit posters and the people you'd expect to be responding, and even aside from the lib shits that are celebrating them getting shut down, there's a massive chunk of Facebook soccer moms, the Q-tard boomers. Go take a look at the sheer amount of them. It is staggering how many of them are out there. They're all talking. It's 50-year-old women. 50-year-old women with cat photos on their fucking accounts talking about trusting the plan and how Q is going to pull through for them. Who are these people? And how did they find 8chan? Where did they come from? It's worth a laugh. I promise you, there's gold in there. From Richard Plantangent, they always blame video games to distract, never do anything. Red flag Baker Acts already exist in 50 states. They love talking about their video games. They love talking about those violent video games. It's not that these approaches haven't been taken before. It's not that they haven't implemented them to some degree before. It is the amalgamation of these different vectors and approaches. That's kind of what you have to see. It's cobbled together. It's a patchwork of fucking you over. It's taking one thing related to something and another thing related to something entirely different and smushing it together. Smushing it together in a way that's going to fuck you. You know, these red flag laws, these Baker Acts, these psychiatric holds will be paired with things. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. That's what I'm trying to impart to you. Is that it's not going to be for the crazy guy, or not, and it's not just going to be for the crazy guy saying, 1488, erase war now. I'm going to go down to a Walmart and start another Showa. It's not going to be for that guy. It's going to be for another guy that doesn't say extreme things, but says unpleasant things. You have to look at how the laws and the approach will morph. You have to look at what will this be abused to the most extreme as. When you're implementing these broad strokes, when you're looking at these policies they want to put in place for how to deal with the problem, you have to look at it and say, all right, in a scenario where the worst people possible get power, how would they possibly abuse this? And if you come to a dystopian nightmare from that scenario, that's a good indicator you shouldn't go down that path. Because chances are the worst people will get into power and they will totally fucking abuse that and morph it into something even more heinous than what it is. I mean, you think it's not going to happen? It will. Your only place, I'll be honest with you, the only place that you really can express your opinions in a nearly free way is the internet. It is. If you think that once that's gone, you'll have some replacement for it, you never will. Ever. The dissemination of information, the expression of opinions, the ability to organize and to bounce ideas off of each other, the idea that you can protest or resist, as the libs like to say, the idea that you can do those activities anywhere else, no. You're going to do it in real life? You ever see what happens to people in real life when they try to protest? You think that's something that's different from Black Lives Matters to the white nationalists at Charlottesville? It's whoever the local government is. They don't give a shit about your rights. Fuck you. The only difference will be you won't have the ability to show other people how you get fucked in the future. You're just going to get fucked. I am very unnerved by the idea of where these things are going to go. Once this is gone, once this is censored, once this is whitewashed, once this is sanitized, you will have no other expression, no other outlet. It is gone. And then that's when they really start to fuck you in real life. When you don't have this little megaphone to scream about terrible shit, when that's gone from you and you're really silent, that's when they're really going to fuck you in real life. Because nobody's going to hear you scream. You think the mainstream media is going to report on people getting fucked over? Oh, they are waiting for it. Oh, they hate you guys. They fucking hate us all. They aren't going to do shit to stand up for any of us. When the government and these entities really start to get out of control, don't expect the press to back you up. The Fourth Estate has abandoned you. They won't defend your rights or the things that happen to you. That's gone. It's gone forever. They hate us. You know, it's this concept of the Fifth Estate, of you doing it yourself, the onus being on you to research your own shit, to express yourself, to share information how you want to share. You're the only one left to do it. That's it. It's just on us. And when that ability is taken away, when that right is gone, it's never coming back. And then the real shit show is going to happen. So when I start hearing the phrase radicalization online, hate speech and hate crimes, when I see the soft push from the corporates and now a hard push from government, it fucking unnerves me. Because there's no getting it back. we're living in the asylum. This is Clockwork Orange. Right now, you want to know what our future is going to be? It's going to be that scene from Clockwork Orange in the movie theater. The government and corporations are the scientists opening your eyes and making you do what they want. And all you can do is sit there and weep. All you can do is sit there and weep as they force feed you all the shit they want to force feed you. And you can't escape it. You can't go to another movie. You can't escape the theater. You're there forever. That's our future. That's what's going to happen to all of us. I know it's a dark stream. It's an unpleasant stream, but it's an unpleasant time to be around. From Archer, Americans lost jobs to China. Now you lose the First and Second Amendment. Yeah, there's the whole tariff thing that's going on. I know American farmers are getting fucked into the dirt right now. China has basically they basically cut off every farming export from America. So not only are you dealing with an overly wet season and an overly dry season, now one of your biggest purchasers doesn't want to purchase from you anymore as a trade war explodes between two nations. Trump cutting off more things, people in the stock market freaking out because they don't know what's going to happen one day to the next. China's a different conversation, but I do feel bad for farmers getting completely and utterly fucked. I don't know what they're going to do with their crops. But hey, oil's going to be cheaper, so win some, lose some. Want to make an omelet, got to break some eggs. In this case, it would be, the Heartland is the egg that's getting broken, but at least a gallon of gas will be a nickel cheaper. So I guess that's a fair trade. Oh boy, happy times ahead, folks. You know what? I guess we can go. I'm trying to think. There are a couple things that are going on. I want to think of how I want to go into this. You know what? I know what we're going to go right into. I was going to do the Watkins thing. I was going to talk about the committee, and I was going to talk about his response to what's going on right now. But I think this is more important. So we're going to jump into this first, and then we'll get into the 8chan stuff in a second. Again, it's all interrelated. But I want to show you something that I think is important. So let's pull this up. Okay, we're going to be talking about a YouTuber that had a door knock recently. Put together this little collage, but they yesterday they made a thread on Poll, and this is part of what they said, and they verified who they were. And if you watch his videos, you can see that's clearly if not the same location, a very similar one. If it's somebody putting in a lot of work, if it's not true. Earlier today, I was visited by 3 police from a nearby city. They wanted to ask me some questions and claimed that my name came up in some kind of online message they were investigating. I followed the advice of Harold A. Covington and did not open the door for them. I simply repeated that I have nothing to say and asked them if they had a warrant. They did not and they left. Am I concerned? Not about this. If they could have arrested me for anything, not that I've done anything illegal, they would have done it earlier, but they didn't. However, the concerning thing about this is the timing. This, along with everything happening in the last 3 days, is not a coincidence, but a coincidence, as it were. Now, this YouTuber was somebody that ran like a welding channel, a farming channel. I hadn't watched him previously to when he read the manifesto, but just one day, out of the blue, decided, you know what, I'm going to read the Christchurch manifesto, and I'm going to read it on my YouTube channel because nobody else has. And I think it's something people should have a right to listen to, and I think it's something that should be out there in the ether. So he does this, and it kicks off a shitstorm. Now, YouTube left it up for like 2 or 3 days, which is remarkable in and of itself, but then it eventually gets pulled down. Now, it goes beyond that. It's not just that he read a manifesto about Christchurch, some of the views that he expressed when it comes to himself personally. In fact, I believe there's a mirror. Let me see if I can pull this up so we can watch a little bit of it. Then I want to talk about at least what I see, this kind of foreshadowing. Let me see. From my understanding, BitChute is a little shitty at the moment because of things that are going on. Let me see if I can pull this up. 1 second, chat, because it's not the manifesto itself that we want to listen to, though that is up on BitChute if you want to watch it. It's they're deleting my channel video. Okay, here we go. Put this up on the page. I just watch a little bit of it just to see kind of what he's talking about, to give you an idea of why they're door knocking him. We're in a situation right now, and again, this goes back to what I'm talking about with hate crimes and hate speech and the wrong expression being put out there. So we've got 2 shooters, we've got 2 manifestos, and then you've got this YouTuber. and this YouTuber who read one of the manifestos, but more than that, had some things to say about his own personal views. And I agree with him. I don't think that it's a mere coincidence. I think that his name and those online messages was definitely related to his expression online. Now, they just visited him, but imagine a scenario where these overreactions, as far as laws go and policies go, are actually solidified and put into place. It would have been more than a door knock. They probably would have put him on a 72-hour hold, or they would have taken his guns, or they would have done something, because they had those tools now to deal with those wrong opinions. But we'll watch a little bit of it, just give you an idea. He's a very laid-back guy, but some of some of his viewpoints, probably not something they like to hear. Well, let's give it a listen.
All right, so it's the evening of May 10th. Today has been a rather interesting day. So I don't really even know where to start with telling.
Oh, are we back? We back? That wasn't. Is the Spec Op team outside right now? Oh boy, oh boy. Refresh chat. I'll give you a second to catch up. I will admit, it's a remarkable coincidence. If the Lemon Emperor is watching right now, he doesn't say anything that's against your terms of service. He just expresses some viewpoints that are uncomfortable in society, let's say. So if you're concerned, if that was a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, no, he's not going to go on some slur-filled rant, if that's what you're concerned about. But we should be back. We should be back if you hit F5 and you refresh, if somebody in chat can tell the other people, because it takes a minute to catch up. We'll listen to a little bit more of what he had to say in regards to his channel getting deleted and his fears for the future after he read this manifesto online. Again, this is not the video where he reads the manifesto. That's available if you want to go watch it. This was merely his concern after having done that, and what he saw as the inevitable reaction for engaging in that behavior. But we'll continue with the video.
He's Australian. He is the person in New Zealand who slaughtered a whole bunch of Muslim invaders from New Zealand, essentially. And the book goes into how and why he went about these things and what pushed him to do so, and so on and so forth. I thought it was a very interesting read. The reason why I posted that is because, and I said this in that video, I've been driving a lot, world events, I like to try to follow them. I wasn't able to find an audiobook of this, so I'm like, I've consumed a lot of audiobooks. I'll do something and make one, and that way everybody else can enjoy it. I knew it would rustle some jimmies. I expected that. So I made an exception from my rule against reading comments for this video because it's really starting to get out of hand at this point. And people are like, Fort Chucky's really coming unhinged. No, I really haven't. I've been far-right ethno-nationalist since about 2014 or so.
And that would be one of the opinions that I think got him put on a list. So it's a guy that runs a fucking welding farming channel, reads the Christchurch Manifesto because he wants it out in audiobook format, and then expresses his own views about being a white ethno-nationalist. He'll talk about it a little bit. We could watch more of it. It's really up to you, chat. It's kind of interesting to hear him talk about keeping his own private beliefs hidden because he didn't want to face backlash from people that were unaccepting of them. For those, again, there's some people in chat asking, who exactly is this? Chuck E 2009. I believe he has like 500,000 to 600,000 subs on YouTube. Fairly successful channel. And then just one day after the Christchurch shooting, puts up a manifesto reading. And then he talks about his own personal beliefs. And now here we are with more shootings that have happened, and he's getting a knock on his door from law enforcement. As the President of the United States and other politicians are talking about implementing new hate crime and hate speech criteria and tools and red flag laws and other things. And I agree with him. Like I said, I find it very coincidental that he's getting paid a visit given the timing of everything that's going on at the moment. 2014. Mundane Matt, you've done it again. This man has been radicalized in 2014. It's fucking Jarbo again. It's goddamn Matt Jarbo again with Gamergate. Lines up perfectly, radicalizing poor farmers out there. This welder had a black wife and 13 Arab children until Matt Jarbo came along with hashtag Gamergate And now he's drawing swastikas on his ass and wearing Klan hoods because he's been radicalized. I'll pull chat. Chat, you tell me. You want to watch some of this video? You want to hear a little bit more about him talk about his belief system and his concerns in regards to expressing what he thinks and how YouTube will react? Or shall we move on? There's no polling option over here, or at least not that I can see. Maybe. Just give me a 1 if you want to watch some more. Give me a 2 if you want to move on a little bit. Seeing we got a lot of 1s? Okay, well, we'll watch it. Again, Chuck E 2009. This was a video he released right after he put the manifesto video up, and the press started coming after him, and just talking about his personal background. So let's listen in.
What I did though is I really tried to keep this under wraps. I mean, you can ask anybody who knows me in the real world, and friends, family, girlfriend, whatever. And I tried to sort of not bring that into work stuff all that much for the pursuit of money and I guess internet fame as well. But what ultimately happened is I realized that these things are pretty much meaningless in the grand scheme of things. They're empty, materialistic things. They don't really matter. And I realized something that pretty much every, at least man in Western civilization needs to realize, and that's that there are things much larger than us and much more important than us. So a month or 2 ago, I started dropping some red pills into some of my videos. I think it was a month, maybe 2 months, somewhere around there. I don't really know because I remember some videos, but I dropped them in so many that I don't actually remember which videos have them and which do not. And that's a lot of videos over that period of time. And so my reasoning for this is I was trying to kind of avoid a confrontation because, the progressives and the leftists, they preach tolerance and diversity and everything only as long as it's agreeable to them. It doesn't have to be agreeable to you. And if it doesn't, you just have to embrace it anyway because otherwise you're a racist and a bigot and whatever else. But as long as they think it's okay, that's fine. If they don't, then it's the absolute end of the world. So carrying on with this, I post the video, and what happens is, I think it was someone at first, and then multiple people, they start posting this video to places like 4chan and some deeper, darker parts of the political underworld on the internet, and it starts to circulate there, and this is a problem because that site, the politically incorrect section, is pretty much like the internet mecca for any right-wing extremist anything, and it's also likewise a mecca for degenerates in the media and places like.
He's not wrong on that, especially about journalists. There's a joke that 8pol wasn't half fed posting, and I believe it. I wouldn't doubt that the intel community was on 8chan's poll board, and I sure as shit don't doubt that the mainstream media lurks and more than likely posts on 4chan's poll. That definitely is not a lie. In fact, you can see them laying the seeds for future stories there, so they can come back and cry harassment, or try to say that there's some kind of an opinion being expressed when they're the ones that inorganically were the ones that put it forward. But here you go. Here's a YouTuber who reads something related to a manifesto of a shooter, who expresses his viewpoints. And if you watch the rest of the video, it's up there. Again, Chucky 2009. There's a mirror of it on BitChute. The mirror is called "They're Deleting My Channel." He talks about his personal views and remaining silent on them because he was worried about censorship. He was worried about that soft corporate push of taking away his ability to say what he wants to say. So he just didn't say it. But for whatever reason, decided he wanted to start expressing those opinions. A lot of it based on his Christianity, and a lot of it based on his racial identity. But that was, the soft corporate push. That was his concerns and worries and fears from corporate. What I fear and what I see kind of happening here is a government push. Again, I go back to this constantly of the idea of what the founder, I guess, of FIRE, Foundation for Individual Rights and Education, said in regards to what happens when you have a changing power structure. The people that come in because they feel they're repressed get power, and then they repress other people. Nobody comes in on the winds of the idea of free expression and free speech. They just want their expression and their speech. The scary thing is when you have a government in a bipartisan way express the want to take away your ability to express yourself or defend yourself, because that's institutional. It doesn't get taken away. And, it's one of those things that I see getting pushed forward. Now, Jim Watkins of 8chan put up a video. I was going to watch it, but I can sum it up for you. He puts up a video expressing that 8chan is being unfairly targeted. One of the more interesting things that he brought up, and I want to see how this plays out, is his statement in regards to the El Paso shooter and the manifesto that was put up on one of his boards on his website, was that the shooter himself did not upload it. He is alleging that manifesto was instead posted to Instagram and Facebook, and somebody who came across it there posted it on 8chan. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it does throw a little bit of doubt on what has been put forward by the El Paso police chief and the FBI when they've talked about how they were monitoring this shooter ahead of time, and they had done it because of 8chan. And it also raises a question of, if Watkins is telling the truth and that manifesto was first posted on Instagram and Facebook and not on 8chan, but the government was only paying attention to it once it was on 8chan, why is Watkins being targeted? Why aren't they going after Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? If that manifesto is getting posted on those sites, shouldn't they be under the gun too? Well, no, they're not. And in fact, now you have people on subcommittees that want Watkins to fly out over here to answer charges. And he's insane if he does, by the way. If you think they're not going to arrest you for something once you set foot on this soil, just don't. Don't come here. They are going to arrest you for something. Don't believe their lies. I put that same advice out to Josh. If they ever say, hey, we want you to appear before a subcommittee, take a plane ride out here, fucking don't do it. They're going to put you in some black site, stick a hose up your ass. What in the fuck? In that same thread, too, by the way. In fact, I want to make sure that I list the right thing that he was talking about, because he did bring up something else. He was talking about getting a door knock, but he brought up something else. So what was he? Well, I want to make sure I get the name of it right, because it's not something I listen to, but it's something that they brought up. He brought this up as a concern that he saw happening over the last few days. Aside from the police knocking on his door, he said Poseidon's channel is gone from YouTube. Others have been deleted in the last 12 hours. 8chan is obviously down. They're talking about new hate laws and disarmament. But then he brought up Radio Free Northwest and said that it had been knocked offline and that its shows weren't available anymore. Now, I've never listened to that before. I'm not 100% sure what it is exactly, but it's something he listened to. And there were a lot of other people saying that you couldn't access certain things, that shit had been scrubbed, that it was just disappearing. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. People that host content now are being called before subcommittees. YouTubers are getting knocks on their doors. President and other people are starting to bring up the terms hate speech and hate crimes, talking about red flag laws and taking away your guns. You've got all these different corporate entities, from Cloudflare to Voxility to others, saying that they're just not going to serve people anymore, that they're going to not do business with them anymore. And where does it end once you go down that route? What is the end of that journey look like? To me, as I said, it looks like the theater scene from Clockwork Orange. That's what it looks like. I don't know what Americans are going to do. You don't have a choice, really, especially going into 2020. If Trump is even giving this lip service, even if he doesn't mean it, but if he's giving it lip service, others could take up the mantle and run with it. So is he really a good choice? Then who else are you going to vote for? You going to pick a Democrat? What do you got? Who do you think they're not going to put forward any of the palatable choices? I mean, let's be clear on that. Tulsi Gabbard's not going to go forward. Yang's not going to go forward. I doubt Bernie's going to go forward. Instead, what are you going to get stuck with? Fucking Joe Biden? Kamala Harris, Cory Booker. They'll just do what Trump is talking about 10 times harder than Trump is giving it lip service to. What a shitty fucking week. What a shitty, shitty fucking week. You know, 8chan it's down. I don't know if it's going to come back up. I mean, yeah, there are workarounds. Yes, obviously there are things they can do, onion links and all of that, but I don't think it's going to be easy for them, and I don't think that they're not going to face the same situation again. You know, Code Monkey put out a statement saying, "I don't know." What was the name of the fucking? Was it Zero? I want to make sure I get the right thing here, so I don't misquote it. He said earlier, 8chan on ZeroNet was not made by our team. I have no idea who set that up. There was a lot of people saying, "Hey, go to 8chan on ZeroNet." Don't worry, it's an unofficial version. Oh, I wouldn't go there if I were you. Now others are saying, "Oh, it's set up by vols. It was set up by volunteers on the V board or whatever." I don't trust Jannies. What are you doing? Hey, we want you to use this website that downloads a copy of this website onto your computer because it's peer-to-peer. Oh, by the way, there's a board that's literally called child pornography on it. Best of luck. Oh, don't touch that. Don't. It glows in the dark. Don't. I don't care who fucking made it. Don't touch it. You're asking for trouble. Oh, they're going to fuck you so hard with that one. It's the glows coming off of that thing is Chernobyl bright. Oh, no. Holy shit. Good God. The absolute fucking state of shit. The absolute state of things as they are. I'll tell you, I do not have a great hope for the future. I've always been a bit of a pessimist. I mean, I'd argue that I'm a realist, but I just do not have high hopes for the way things are going, folks. I think we're witnessing the shit show leading up to the finale. I don't like where it's headed. I'm gonna have to find me some shitty South American country where drug dealers are murdering each other in the street, and the currency's so unstable it costs $8 trillion for a loaf of bread. But at least they'll let me fucking be in peace. If I sit in my little shack in the fucking shitty rural area. Because I don't want to live in Canada 2.0. I don't want to live in Sweden 2.0. I don't want to live in UK 2.0. I want to live in America. I want to live in America. I want to shart in the mart. I want to eat my hamburgers. I want to be able to go buy a gun if I want to buy a gun. I want to be able to call people unpleasant things because it's funny. I don't want to be fucking coddled and monitored and visited and held in this fucking dystopia. But I felt the need to talk about it. Again, we were supposed to talk about fun things. Supposed to talk about the stupid commies and their socialist get-together. Oh my God. By the way, if you thought their little jazz hand shit and finger snapping was funny, wait till you find out how much money they spent on fucking bagged lunches. Holy shit! Communists don't know how to fucking budget. Some really goofy shit about how they organize that. Also got some Gale news. She's found out I'm working with the Jesuits. I don't know who told her. Shame on you for doing that. My black brother Bubba and my fellow Jesuits are very upset that she's aware of this. She finds out about the clones were really, really fucked. So I don't want anybody to tell her any more information, but we will cover that, as well as the socialists on Friday. And cover other things. But today was a deep, dark, black pill stream. Because at least you know where things are going. At least you know what's awaiting for you at the end of the tunnel, and it ain't a light. Well, let me rephrase that. If it's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's glowing in the dark light. It's a better way of putting it, I suppose. We'll have a happier stream on Friday. Have a bit of a laugh, a giggle at retarded people and retarded things. But today's stream definitely is not one of those. Yeah, I think I'll end it off with that. Try not to hang yourself. At least you've got a front row seat to the end. I mean, at the very least, we get to watch it play out. And that's got to be worth something. So don't despair too much. Just grab a nice big box of popcorn, get a comfy seat, get a comfy blanket, and just sit down and watch the show. Watch the show as it all unfolds. Good God. People are a disappointment. I don't understand why these people that get in office do the things they do and take the approach they take. And they have the tools to do their job in the first place, but they want to just keep expanding that power and keep applying the law of the lowest common denominator until everybody's miserable and silent and shackled like chattel on their knees with a big fat government cock down their throat. Well, hopefully you have a great day. Oh, it's a shiny, bright, sunshiny rainbow day. Oh, a happy week ahead. We will have a more relaxed, funnier stream on Friday, but I wanted to talk about this. Just pay close attention as they start to talk about this more and more, and as others pick up on it and will really want to run on it. You know what? Actually, I don't want to leave completely badly. Let's try to brighten it up a little bit. Let's talk about Daytona and his his shooter. That's the positivity we need. Let me see if oh God, I hope I can find it. I wasn't planning on really covering this, but you know what? I'll just throw the picture up. We'll leave on this. We'll leave on this, and then I'll play some music out. Actually, okay, we're good. In regards to the Daytona shooter, I hope you're happy. I hope you're ready. A little bit of information came out from an ex-girlfriend, of course. Now, if you don't remember the thing that separated the two of these, El Paso, very passionate about Dr. Seuss and the Lorax. Daytona, a bit of a leftist pussy, the Antifa Satanist. Now, information came out from former classmates and ex-girlfriends, and I put it together in a nice little picture. I think hits the highlights. So let's end on this. Let's take a look at this. Oh God! And of course, it's all off center. Oh boy, what are you doing? Can we do this? Oh no, there we go. So this was the shooter. He was in a band, a metal band called the Menstrual Munchies. One of his ex-classmates said he kept a rape list, but the best parts, the absolute best parts of all of this stupid shit, would come from the ex-girlfriend when she said, shockingly, I'm sure nobody saw this coming, Connor and I kept our relationship on the down low due to the polyamorous nature of it. I was engaged to another man while dating him, and all parties involved knew about the situation. He was a cuck. He was a leftist, Antifa, Satanist, feminist, pronoun-using cuck who had a metal band called the Menstrual Munchies, which I'm sure means he was a feminist. And I think maybe the most disconnected thing I've ever heard a dumb bitch ever say in my life is in this last phrase. Remember, he just killed like 10 people and injured 20 some odd others in a fucking killing spree, and she actually says this. I have no idea what his motivation was. I will never know. But there are a few things that I'm certain it wasn't. This wasn't a hate crime. He fought for equality. Oh, women are a mistake. What are you saying? This dude shot 30 people, and he killed 10 of them. He fought for equality? It wasn't a hate crime? What? Oh, you need to be silent. Who says that after somebody goes on a killing spree? He fought for equality. he was equal about it. He killed black people. He killed white people. There was no hate in his heart. He'd murder anybody. He was fighting for equality. The cuck the equality killer. And his band, the Menstrual Munchies, were out there fighting the good fight. What a dumb bitch. Who says that after a spree killing? Oh, women are a mistake. Women are a mistake. Oh, you can find her whole article is up on Medium. You'll find it. It's very easy to find. Some very funny shit in there, talking about how he wrote a letter to an ex-girlfriend and he was like, hey, he told this woman, hey, I know I'm your cuck in this relationship, but I got to deliver this letter to a friend of mine. Can you come with me? And she's like, okay. And we get there, and there's some guy mowing the lawn. And he's like, I can't deliver the letter. We have to come back later. And she's like, why? He's like, we have to come back later. She's like, okay. So they drive back at like 9 or 10 at night. And the guy who was mowing the lawn or whatever is still out there doing shit. And he's like, I can't deliver it. Nobody can be there when I deliver it. He's like, what does the letter say? And it says, hello neighbor, you can't escape your past. And she's like, what the fuck does that mean? He's like, oh, it's an ex-girlfriend that lives here. You can't. What is it with male feminists being fucking psychopaths? You know, I know they like to give incels shit because they're virgins with rage, but these male feminists, man, they take it to the next level. The next level. He wanted to deliver spooky notes to some fucking chick he dated. You can't escape your past. I'm fucking coming for you. The fucking cuck was coming for her. And then she excuses it. She's like, no, he's not a bad guy. He fights for equality. He's out there fighting for equality. Oh, what the fuck?